Peace, family. It's your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. We are here once again at the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel to cover some of the latest goings on in the world. We've been having a very busy day. I don't know if y'all saw it earlier on the channel. Make sure you check out the video. I released a full conversation with Norm Finkelstein and me, where we talked about everything going on in Israel right now. If you check, I also had a debate with a gentleman on the Black National Anthem. I debated a conservative radio host, and I had to, Jeff Beatty was his name. I had to engage him in a very intense conversation, and I had to speak to the tradition, Black culture tradition, and our ways of moving, and defend the fact that there is a Black nation. People say Black people can't have a national anthem because we ain't got a nation. It's funny who they let have a nation and who they don't. It's funny who they say can be a nation even without a government and who can't. It's just fascinating. But anyway, family, I appreciate y'all. Welcome to the channel. It's day 184 of Israel's war on Gaza. And I'm going to send some shouts out before we get started, because I always appreciate people from the channel, and people who have joined the channel, people who have official memberships. I appreciate you. So Lydia Renee, thank you. C. Shada, so good to see you, my sister. Jasmine with me all day. Jim, good to see you. Long time. Change Wave, good to see you. Karen D, good to see you. Hasna, good to see you. Aja, good to see you. Or Asia, I'm not sure. Michelle Wash, Dr. Jade and Jewel, so many of y'all here. Mazia, Karen D, Hanan, my brother, Good Newt, Jordan Taylor, wa alaikum salam, Allahu Akram, good to see you, good to see you, good to see you. Sasha O, Laith Evergreen, I appreciate you. Aisha Abu Amr, Ayodele Shehi, and of course, Albert Manuel. So good to see all of y'all. I appreciate y'all for supporting the channel. Tomorrow we'll be doing office hours on top of night school. So we'll be doing some Q&A on top of my normal reporting. So I'm excited to have those conversations. I got a very special guest for you tomorrow that we'll talk about tomorrow. But right now, let's get to Gaza, because I can't be up long. I'm old. But I wanted to give you all a breakdown of what's going on in the Gaza Strip. Because as always, it's not a war against Palestinians. It's not a war in Gaza. It's a war against Gaza. It's a war on Gaza. And for that reason, we know that we have to tell a different story. We have to acknowledge the ways that corporate media has conspired to create this genocide in Gaza. And even though the mainstream outlets don't want to cover this issue, even though the mainstream outlets don't want to tell the story of the Palestinian people in Gaza, we're going to tell it. We're going to share it. We're going to break it down every single time, every single day, as a tool and as a tactic of liberation. Let's get started though, y'all. Day 184 has been marked by so much violence and so much death. I want to give you the most updated numbers. I'm pausing, not because I'm not prepared, but because a new statistic graphic came in, and it was disturbing. It's nothing that you don't know, but when I hear it or see it in this context, it becomes even more stunning. It says 33,137 have been killed, including 13,800 children. That means that 1 out of 70 people in Gaza have been killed by Israeli forces. Do you know what kind of number that is? 1 in 70 people in Gaza have been killed by Israeli forces. Where else in the world could you go where 1 in 70 people, and that's a generous number because there's still 8,000 people under the rubble. But where else could you go and get that kind of number? Where could you go and get that kind of outcome? Seems almost implausible that you could. That's right. Astronomical is the exact word that I would use to describe it. Literally fake. Shout out to you. Said, how are you still up? I'm barely still up. I'm tired. But again, I have a commitment to doing this. 13,800 children is a moral disaster. Israel has made decisions militarily, politically, etc., to get us here. This number is stunning. Even if you agree with Israel, it's stunning. And the thing is, it's always a fight. It's always a fight to get them to release the names and the numbers of Palestinians who have been killed. It's been like that for decades. Nothing new under the sun, but it's more frustrating to see that nothing has changed in this way, or that little has changed in that regard. Anyway, let's keep going. There's also 75,886 Palestinians who have been killed, who have been wounded since the October 7th attacks. And specifically, I'm speaking about Hamas's attack into Israel, where 1,139 Israeli citizens, as well as military folk and some nationals, were killed. So this is all against the backdrop of what's happening. Or this all is the backdrop. So some updates. Palestinians have returned to destroyed homes in Khan Yunis as Israeli troops withdraw months after they invaded the city in southern Gaza. So Khan Yunis is one of those places that we thought would be liberated sooner than later. It was one of those places that after the homes were destroyed, it was very, very unclear what the plan was. Many people feared that the people in Khan Yunis and in Rafah would be pressed south into the Sinai, ultimately end up living in Egypt and would never be allowed back. So even watching people return to their homes, even their destroyed homes, watching them go back to those homes as a kind of signpost of their desire to never leave, right? To demonstrate sumud is something very, very important. I want you to look at these houses. This is what people are coming home to. This is what people are coming home to, for context. They're not coming home to a broken window or a kicked-in door. They're coming in to this. It's unacceptable. But anyway, let's keep going. I'm sorry, I lost my place. Israel's defense minister, Yoav Gallant, says that Israeli troops who pulled out of Gaza on Sunday did so to prepare for future operations, including in the southern city of Rafah. So the invasion of Rafah remains a primary, if not exclusive, goal of the Netanyahu administration. They seem totally prepared to invade Rafah, where 1.5 million Palestinians are, and a town that only is supposed to hold 250,000. So to invade Rafah is to put a powder keg next to a furnace. And that seems to be what Netanyahu is banking on, that there's going to be big explosions and that the explosions are going to push the Palestinian people out or kill them. He hasn't said that last piece. That's just my opinion, but it's my fear. 7 people have been killed as Israel continues its bombardment of Gaza with attacks near Nusrat and Rafah. That's according to the news outlet Wafa. Also, their truce talks in Cairo went down today. And while at those truce talks, Hamas negotiators asked to include in the negotiation for Palestinians to be able to return to northern Gaza as Israeli negotiators focus on releasing captives. So Hamas is sort of articulating a broader political vision for what that house could look like. Because there's multiple sort of political futures that we could have, right? You could rearrange the house, i.e. just get rid of Hamas and have another leadership group, but still have no self-determination. You could destroy the house, which seems to be what the current war is doing, as it depopulates and executes. You can move other people into the house, right? You could go back to having this one state vision, or at least a complicated mix of people in Gaza Strip, but none of them seem ideal because none of them require any kind of fundamental and substantive change from the Israeli state. As long as Israel is an ethno state, as long as Israel is an apartheid state, then none of this other stuff is going to fit. None of this other stuff is going to work. None of this other stuff is going to make sense. That's just a fact, at least from where I sit. All right, y'all. I'm gonna power through this. I think that's about. Actually, that's it. Those are all the stories that I want to give to you. We talked about the death toll. We talked about the guys in health ministry. Oh, the Committee to Protect Journalists says that the Israel war on Gaza has taken a, quote, severe toll on journalists. As of April 5th, CPJ records show that at least 95 journalists and media workers have been killed in Gaza. 95. Do you know how crazy that is? That almost 100 journalists and media workers have been killed. And I have yet to hear any announcement that they've killed some major undercover secret Hamas operative. Just saying. The Israeli army has announced the death of 4 soldiers in the southern Gaza Strip, hours after the military wing of Hamas, the Qassam brigades, said it had killed 14 Israeli soldiers in Khan Yunis. And according to the Israeli military, 604 have been killed since the start of the war, 260 of them during the ground operation. And at least 3,193 others have been reported injured. Anyway, a lot of death. What we're waiting on now, hopefully Monday, is that President Biden will make a statement about where he is in relation to the obstinance from the Israeli government, but also the consistent request for more money, weapons, and political cover. It's a fascinating and unhealthy relationship. Anyway, I want to shout out Sailor Jerry Swallow. Thank you so much for your generous donation. Change Wave gifted 5 memberships. That's a big deal, y'all. That's a huge deal. I appreciate that. And then I see my brother Jordan Taylor said, did you see the story about the 4-year-old Palestinian girl, Sajah Junaid, who was burned by Israeli soldiers and then denied medical aid? No, I hadn't heard this. So I'll look into it and we'll talk about it maybe tomorrow, because I'm fascinated by the story. I just didn't know about it. Family, I need y'all to support this channel. So hit the like button if you can, hit the subscribe button if you can, hit the join button if you're inclined. Go to donate on Cash App or Venmo. Just hit MLH TV. And on that note, family, I will see you later. Peace.